Just meditate this. These words, these quotations are so profound. You memorize, and then you repeat yourself. Especially so when you have attachment, anger, depression. This time, remind this: everything is impermanent. Release the attachment, release the anger and depression. You feel your depression is so solid, profound. Sometimes you feel you can't get out of this. But if you remind this impermanence, your depression is just illusion. Meditate. Can make a short break, maybe 15 minutes, and come back. Thank you. I have not. It's enough. Enough, yes, thank you. Excuse me.
You articulate very well.
I articulate well. I hope so. Okay. Shall we resume our continuation? See. So first you see, look at this. As mentioned, meditate or contemplate on this impermanence. And look at the mind. The important thing is, you see, it teaches us how to release our attachment, to release our aversion. This is a very important subject. To release our inveterate propensity. So habituated habit. Looking at them, they are impermanent. Because they bring us suffering. We are talking about how to free from suffering, Release the attachment. Release the aversion. Look at this moment. So temporary. So that's why I now try to do this meditation. So precious, you see. So now meditate on separation by contemplating right now whatever I have. So all things what you have, just contemplate to yourself. My relative, my family, my wealth, and this body, and so forth, that I cherish so much, I take care. Just picture, bring those pictures in your mind. Then say, none of this or these, maybe this is better, none of these can, or this accompany me forever. Sometimes when you contemplate that, maybe some frightening. I don't want to contemplate because I love so much. I don't want to separate them, But practically look at this. Meditate, contemplate. See, one day soon I will have to separate from them. So I don't want to think about these bad thoughts. Sometimes you may think, but it's realistically it will happen. Then, so contemplate that. So to contemplate on that I have to separate one day without my choice. So engaging in the context of Bodhisattva says, up until now, I did not understand, or I did not know, maybe I did not know, that I would have to leave all things behind because I was so involved in this life. Something like that I will live forever. That I got that kind of in my mind. Then say, another way to practice this meditation on impermanence of oneself is to contemplate the 3 by 3. 3 by 3, what? Multiply 3 by 3? 9. This is mathematics or arithmetic. Topics. Meditate on the impermanence of death by contemplating, say, first 3, say, I will definitely die one day. This one. The time of death is uncertain. 2. There will be no help when death occurs. So it is the 3. Now each has 3. Becomes 9. That. The first one says, there are 3 reasons for the certainty of death. That means I will die definitely one day. For that, how you can say this, because there's no one from the past who's alive. Because this body is composite. And because life is becoming exhausted every moment, that will definitely occur. Each the reason why I will die definitely. First of all, there's no one is alive, those in the past. Because my body is composite, as I mentioned, just earlier I mentioned, it's impermanent. Why? Because it's composite. That's why it's, And the third, my life gets shorter every moment that we did, Look at this. Now we go step by step each. First, see, no one is alive now, which came in the past. See, my death is certain because no one from the past is alive. From 1,000 years, look at up until now, no one is alive. So Acharya Ashwagosha said, whether on the earth or in the heaven, in the sky, have you seen any who were born who did not die? Or have you even heard of any? Because now that there are a lot of news, media, they went to moon, now going to Mars, other planets. If they have anyone's heard of or have seen who has not died. Look at this. No? Yeah. And still you have doubt, or you have a doubt. Therefore, even great beings who had infinite clairvoyance, the meditators, clairvoyance and a miracle power, who could not escape the place where there is no death. To say nothing of people like ourselves. Look at this. When you read life stories, great masters who have infinite clairvoyance, miracle powers, they can fly, walk on the river, Have they found any place that nobody's died? Look at this. Just meditate. Bring to in your heart. Definitely I will die. No? Release all your mental delusions. No? Yeah. It is said, great sages with the 5 types of clairvoyance could fly far in the sky, yet could not find a place where no one dies. Not only that, but noble beings like solitary realizers, Patik Buddha, the great Arhat hearers, Sharavakas, finally had to leave their bodies, to say nothing of people like ourselves. So I can just meditate on this. Even like Shariputra, Mongoliana, who has such great power to play, but they're also gone. Why not me? So the verse is spoken intentionally says, all the solitary realizer Buddhas and Buddha's hearers, Sharavakas, leave their bodies. So why wouldn't ordinary people like me, like us? Not only that, even the perfect, complete Buddha, the Nirmana Kaya, but with a measure and manner marks and a natural like the indestructible Vajra, also led the body, to say nothing of people like ourselves. Acharya Ashoka Ghosh said, the form of all the Buddhas, adorned by measure and manner marks, even his Vajra-like body is impermanent. To say nothing of other beings, bodies which are without essence, like a water tree, means very shallow tree, essenceless. Look at investigate our body, skin, bone, flesh, nothing, no essence. So why I should attach to this so much? So impermanent. Release all the attachment. Then we'll have much less suffering. Very little suffering. Even sickness hit us, much suffering. If we could meditate on this. No? So now there's first, say, the past, then all look at other great religious leaders also. Here mention all the Buddhist religious leaders. Look at, they describe how much they achieved that kind of qualities, abilities. But no, we don't see now. It's just a history. No? My death, now second, my death is certain because this body is composite, and all composite phenomena are impermanent. Everything that is composite is of a perishable nature. The verses spoken intentionally says, Allah's kind of feeling of sadness. See? As all that are composite are impermanent. We built something like to make concrete, permanent, but goes wrong very easily. They are subject to birth and death. All people are subject to, they're born and they die. Since this body is not non-composite, it must be composite. Therefore, it is impermanent, and that is definite. Look at this. Now next, because time is passing, that one. My death is certain because life is being exhausted every moment. Every moment life moves closer to death. We may not perceive this or be aware of it, but it can be examined with examples. Our gross mind may not capture the just moment-to-moment changes, the impermanence, but through the example, we can get some understanding. No? See? As an arrow shot by a skillful archer, one example. As a water falling from a steep mountain, two. As a person being led to execution, these three examples. By this, life passes rapidly. The first, see, in the first simile, when an archer shoots his arrow at a target, the arrow does not stop in the space for one moment until it reaches the target. So now, as you see the arrow or shooting a gun, same thing. That time maybe not so much gun there, so arrow is now it's a gun, When there's a target there, you shoot gun, and until bullet hits the target, it never stops on the space. Just go direct. How fast? Like this impermanence going through. Our life is going through that nature. Or when you drive the car, you look at the tire, the wheel, how it's turning, spinning the wheel, impermanent. So I'm deluded in the grasping, in the fixated state of the mind. I should see this, how everything's changing. Contemplate and release attachment, release our aversion. Likewise, our life does not stay in one place for even a moment. It approaches death quickly, as it is said, just like an arrow shot by a skillful archer. As soon as the string is released, the arrow string is released, it does not stay, but quickly reaches its target. So also is the life of all humans. It's not just only me. Everyone is this nature. And we don't realize this. We don't aware this. I'm grasping something somehow like it's real, but somehow it is illusion. And just meditate. In the second example, just as water falls from a steep mountain without pausing for a moment, likewise it's very obvious that a person's life does not pause. The precious Pinnacle collection says, friends calling, oh, look at all my friends, listen to me, This life passes quickly like water falling from a steep mountain cliff. A childish person is not aware of this and become arrogant, drunk, and foolish wealth, You are arrogant for your achievement. And then you are drunk with your achievement. And you are foolish in your wealth. With attachment and suffering. Basically, saying, it's not saying your wealth is wrong. There is, attachment. Being slave yourself for the cause of suffering. This is what is meant, Sometimes you get a wrong message. Buddhists think wealth is not good. That's not true. If that's true, why we have to practice generosity? There's a lot of emphasis on the practice of generosity. No? It's an ethical way to develop your wealth. But attachment to this brings the suffering. No? Also, the verses spoken intentionally says, like the current, is that right? Yes. Like the current of great river, which moves on without turning back. Look at the Amazon River. Start from one of the longest rivers. Start from mountain, go to the ocean. Never stops in between. Like that, our life, no matter how long we stay, eventually will approach to the death. So meditate on this. This is the nature of the all phenomena. This is the reality. This is not Buddhist philosophy. This is the philosophy of the whole phenomena. So that's how we have to live with reality nature. Now, in the third example, a person who is going to execute, say, a prisoner being led to execution, every step that prisoner takes bring him closer to death. So from his jail place to the persecution, supposedly like a 1 mile. Every step, now his life is close to death. Every step, you see, like that. Same thing. The day we are born until death, every minute, every second, we're close to death. Similarly, our lives are closer to death every minute. Thus, the Noble Tree Sutra says, as a prisoner is led to execution, every step he takes leads him close to death, and likewise ourselves. Also, the verse spoken intentionally say, for a person who will definitely be executed, every step he makes draws him closer to execution. So also is the life of all humans. Everyone is that nature. Now just contemplate on this. And meditate. Now, second 3, the uncertainty of time of death is explained by 3 reasons. It's uncertainty because lifespan is indefinite. It's uncertainty because the body has no essence. It's uncertainty, and there is uncertainty because there are many causes of death. Therefore, there's no certainty in the time of death. So in other realms or another continent's lifespan is certain. There's some history, story in some other planets. People live, suppose, like 1,000 years. But we haven't seen yet. It's mythical. But here in this planet, saying, but in this world and planet, our life has no definite length. As mentioned in the treasury of Abhidharma, here it is indefinite. It is 10 years at the end and limitless at the beginning. No, people live longer life, shorter life. Some say people live limitless ages, countless, you say, then decreases from that, and to the 10, people live on the 10th life. Now, how is it definite or indefinite? The verses spoken intentionally say, some die in the womb, mother's womb. Others at the moment of moment of the birth. Likewise, some while quarreling, and likewise some while running about, means they're running back and forth as children. And some grow old, they die, and some die young. Some die in the prime of youth. Eventually, they all pass on. See, it's very clear. The mother will say miscarriage, child die at the womb. Some die at the time of birth. No. Some, when they're 5, 6 years old, teenage, youth, Some lives like 80, 90, over 100s, but still they die at the end. Look at this. So what's reminding is, I must practice Dharma. We have such a rich Dharma to apply. So it's here tried to teach us without wasting our time. All this wisdom and compassion bring into your heart. Then when you die joyfully, peacefully. When impermanence comes. The second, the being, saying the body is without essence, means that there is no single solid substance in it, only the 36 impure components. Engaging in the contact of Bodhisattva says, first of all, mentally separate, means you investigate your mind, use your mental capacity. The layer of skin from the flesh, look at the skin. Then up at below skin, what? Flesh, blood, all the nerves, and then bones. Look at here, flesh, and then with the scalpel of discrimination, use your mental discrimination. Separate the flesh from this skeletal frame, all the bones. And having split open even the bones, even bone you split. It's not all risk you split. Look and then look right down into the marrow in the bone. Well, examine this, ask yourself, where is the essence of the body that I cherish so much? I cannot bear some pain that I have. And I cherish. I take that much medicine. How much I pay for this, which is not in its essence. Look at this, meditate. I sacrifice so much for this, not to cherish this body, which is no essence. I must practice Dharma. Bring wisdom, compassion in the mind. This is what's called no self. There's no self to cherish. Many causes of death, say, means that there is nothing that does not contribute to the death of oneself and others. Even those food we eat to live, clothes we wear, house we live, which supposed to protect our life, they also become a cause of death. Of course, poisons, accidents, they become the cause of death. But all those which contributes for life, they also become a cause of death. You asked, is there any which doesn't cause death? Nothing. Look at this in prominent and release your depression. Appreciate the wisdom which penetrates in your heart. The letter to a friend says, Nagarjuna, this life has many dangers. It is more fragile than a bubble blown by the wind. It's a great marvel to have time to live, to breathe in and out, and wake up from sleep. It's more fragile than bubbles. So look at this, how fragile. We think, I'm so healthy, I'm strong. But the breathing goes out and it doesn't come back. Nothing. No? So look at this. And meditate, so contemplate on this. There are also 3 reasons why there will be no help when death occurs. See? We cannot be helped by our own wealth. We cannot be helped by our relatives or friends, and we cannot be helped by our bodies, especially at the time of death, it is saying. First, say, we cannot be helped by our wealth engaging in the conduct of the Bodhisattva saying. Although I may live happily for a long time, for like 50 years, 60 years, 80 years, life we live very happily. Through obtaining a great deal of material wealth, I shall go forth empty-handed and destitute at the time of death, just like having been robbed by a thief. When death comes, I have to leave everything behind. Beautiful house, all the wealth there. It seems like destitute, with empty hand. We cannot take penny with us. Like a robber comes, robbed everything. Besides not benefiting us, the wealth harms us in this life and hereafter. The harm for this life comes from quarreling, fighting for the wealth. You have to negotiate, quarrel, and out of arrogance, jealousy, so forth, fight for wealth, and experiencing the suffering of becoming a slave to wealth, protecting it from thieves. So in this life, how much we go through. Hereafter, we are thrown into the lower realm through the maturation of the result of these actions, out of these negative thoughts. we put a lot of actions. So these negative actions and thoughts is a negative karma that will bring us suffering in the next life. We cannot be helped by our relatives or friends. It is said, when the time of death comes, your children cannot become a refuge. When you are dying, you cannot take refuge in your children, nor can your father, mother, or friend. None of those will give us refuge. Therefore, no one in whom you can take refuge except the Dharma. Except the Dharma of the realization, wisdom, and compassion. Besides not benefiting us relatives will harm us in this life and hereafter. The harm for this life is great suffering from the fear that they may die, get sick, or be defeated by others. We are so much suffering. They are concerned for their life. They may get sick. They may be not successful. They may be beaten by others. No? A lot of emotional sufferings there through our attachment. Because that hereafter we are thrown in the lower realms through the maturation of the result. See, we cannot be helped by our own bodies that we cherish so much. We cannot get help from the qualities of the body. There's a quality of the body, there too, nor from the body itself. First, no matter how powerful, strong the body may be, so you are so strong, like a boxer. See how powerful, strong the body may be. It cannot turn back the death. No matter how limber and swift, how you can run so fast. No. So it cannot help to escape the death. No, cannot escape death. No matter how learned and eloquent we may be, speaking, so eloquently speaking, and physically so talented, like gymnastic, those kind of talent. So we cannot escape death by defeating. So debating. So we cannot debate with the Lord of Death. When Lord of Death comes, then you can debate. Kevin, you ask a lot of questions to the Lord of Death. Say, yeah, where you are here, just say, where you are coming closer to me. See? That time, you see, if you have wisdom, realization, compassion, the bodhicitta, then as I mentioned, you die peacefully, joyfully. Because of that, we practice Dharma. As mentioned, not because we believe, it's not because we are religion, but because of practical benefit we get. Everyone wants to die joyfully, with the dignity. That's why we're having a lot, we say like, what do you call it, insurance. A lot of different insurance, isn't it? Social securities, all this. You want to die with the kind of dignity, isn't it? You want to die with the less fear. But only you could get those through this, first understand this, see this, penetrate this, and then bring Dharma into the heart. That's what's called Buddhism. That's how we can free from suffering. So this is very important. Look at, carefully penetrate. That's why Kambupa put so, he articulated so precisely. Now we need a mental articulation. Is that right? No, we have to articulate, the mind carefully and capture this meaning, and then see, then why I should practice Dharma. That's the best social security. Because you see now here, see our talents. Some were so inspired. Some people so talented. They can jump so high, like the ice skiing, or diving from the high rocky mountains, or run so fast. There's marvelous people, who has that kind of physical talent. But at the time of death, this all, nothing helps. Now practice Dharma. See, everything is impermanence, is illusion. And bring your mind into yourself and meditate, contemplate. Reorganize our mind. Then it's not just a belief, but it is something that practical, which serves in the society. For example, when the sun is setting on the mountain, no one can postpone or hold it back. Just go straight. No. The body which is it is said, the body which is well sustained by food, clothes that are accumulated through great hardship will not accompany you, but will be eaten by bird at time of death. Birds or dogs, or cremated in a blazing fire, or will enter the water, or will be buried under the ground. So they're different. See, with this. Besides not bringing benefit at the time of death, it will cause harm in this life and hereafter. The harm in this life is that this body cannot be tolerated sickness. When you get sick, you cannot tolerate. It's like a hungry spirit. When there's a heat, you cannot tolerate. Because of that, we make the fan, air condition, so forth. We cannot tolerate cold, because that we make the heating system. It's very clear. No? Thirst, then for that we need water. Fear someone will hit or beat it. So there's a lot of police securities from that. No? The fear that someone may kill it, fear that someone may torture it, it means this body. Or the fear that someone may kill skin, hereafter by this body's falls, we are thrown into the lower realms through the maturation of the result. Then we create a lot of negative karma for just to survive this body. Look at there are some people. No? So here what it's saying is not attached to this body. Respect this precious human life. Respect. You give food, clothes, as earlier mentioned, at the precious human life. Then you utilize for Dharma practice. No? Applying others, no? Applying others in permanence to oneself. Looking others in permanence, then look to yourself, apply, practice. This is happening, this will happen to me, like this, now here. So practicing in permanence of death by applying others in permanence refer to observing others' person death, to hearing of hearing of other person's death, and to recollecting it in the mind. So there are three things. First, practicing the meditation on the impermanence of death by observing another who is dying. That's the first observing another who is dying. Now they're describing here, for example, first, consider, just think about when a close relative or friend whose body is strong, young, who has a very bright complexion, smiling, enjoying his life, and positive feeling, and who has no feeling of death in his mind, not at any cost, not anything thinking of the death will come. So bright, strong, young, such kind of suppose he's suddenly caught by a deadly disease. All the strength of his body is lost, and he cannot be even sit up, like sit on the chair. His radiant face or complexion disappears. Now, no smiling, no bright face. His face becomes colorless. His feeling is that of suffering. He cannot tolerate the sickness. So much pain there, day and night. He cannot endure the pain. The medicines and the medical treatments have no effect. Now you call all the doctors, famous doctors you call, no effect. No? Religious rituals and ceremony no longer help. Then you invite great teachers, powerful teacher. No, you ask, please come say prayers. Can you do some special prayers so that he can be free from this sickness? They cannot also help. See? Now meditate this, you see. Bring that in your heart. If that happens, no longer help. He understands that he will die. Now he has no other hope, only to die. That there is no other choice. Now he gathers his last friends, family, and relatives. Then he eats his last meal, last food, repeats his last words. Now he gives advice. When I die, you do these things. No. See, at that time, contemplates. I'm also of the same essential. Essential means I'm also that nature. Maybe no need essential nature. I'm also in that nature. I'm not different from this. One day I will also face this, sooner or later. So now what it helps that time. See. In the same condition and have the same character, I'm not beyond this reality. Then just say, all it can help is the Dharma. These are, as mentioned, looks like very kind of scary, negative things, but in reality, it brings the whole purpose of the Dharma practice. Why we are practicing them? No? When his breath, so now his breathing has stopped. From then, no matter how lovable and important he may be, he may have been in that house. So, in that house, everyone loves him, respect him, cherish him. No? But now, say, so from that point on, he cannot pass one more day there. Now he cannot stay even one day more. So, he's laid down on a stretch, bound and tied across, and corpse carried takes him out. The corpse carrier takes him out. At that time, some people of his household embrace. The corpse is embrace the corpse. Yes, some hold embrace the corpse and pretend to cling to it, affectionate, because they love him so much. So they hold the body. I don't want to let go of this body. Cry helplessly. Yeah. Others weep and pretend to be dejected. Others fall to the ground in a faint, while some other friends say that the body is earth, stone, and that these actions are silly and not very meaningful. So don't cry. Why you are crying? Now he or she is dead. Now finished. It's silly. It doesn't bring any benefits. Some just to help emotionally,
Why pretend to?
Yeah, actually, I think pretend maybe word is not so correct. But they genuinely, genuinely they cry, they loved him. Yeah. And this pretend maybe need to correct. Yeah. There's some other words as well now finding. There says, now this turned, his body or her body is composed of 4 elements, so it's turned into 4 elements, belong to the ground. So why you're crying? What's the benefit? Just try to help emotionally those people, In a house, once the corpse has been carried out of the house, and you see that it will never return to the house. Now you know it will not return to the house. Then you should practice the meditation. Means then it's translated. Because of this, now for yourself, for others, now meditate, practice. Or in other words, meditate in permanence. Everybody's in this nature. So meditate. See, practice the meditation. Recollect all this and contemplate. I'm also of the same essential nature. I'm in that nature. Maybe I'm also of the same at that nature, in the same condition, and have the same character. I'm not beyond this reality. So these steps to bring in the mind.